Hey everybody, welcome back to the Grand Shamrock Tour. For almost 3 years, Carol and I have been traveling in a Grand Design Momentum. This is the 351 model. And where the D-rings on the floor and are bolted on lined up wasn't always conducive for travel days because we couldn't open the doors to the house. And so what we did is we contacted Scott at Bolted On and said, if we were to move this back a little bit, what do you think? And he said, yeah, what do you need? He got us set up with the appropriate tools, but what I need to do is relocate 2 D-rings now in the floor of our Grand Design. So we've done all the stuff. We're going to peel back the carpet and see what's next. Okay, as you see, the relocation of our Bolted On will move the entire unit back 26 inches. So we brought it in, we sized it up by putting the bikes actually in the Bolted On, and it is an amazing piece of equipment because it actually holds the bikes. You don't have to tie them down or anything. Once the bikes go in there, they hold steady. I mean, obviously for travel days, they're secured, but it enabled us to go ahead and get an actual fit on the bikes, the new 310 GSs, and the electric bikes that we're going to be taking with us on this next year of adventure. So by locating it back, I had Grand Design send me a couple of the factory D-ring plates, and then the way this is held in place is it's sandwiched on the floor. So I had a couple of galvanized steel plates built so that they'll lie underneath the floor against the frame, absolute perfect fit, and it will sandwich up to the floor and give us the support we need. So I've measured it out 26 inches back, 4.5 inches in, so we're on the same center line as the factory, and then we just need to cut a 3-inch hole. And it's always intimidating whenever you decide to cut a hole in your RV. Fortunately, this one's got a lot of holes in the floor already, so it's just a couple more. So let's get it started. I've already drilled a pilot hole, and we'll go pretty slow here at the beginning and see what we come up with, and then we'll be going underneath. After I get this hole drilled, we're going to secure this plate in with just the center bolt first, and then the self-trapping screws will take over for us after that. All right, here we go. Fortunately for us, I'm able to get perfectly down in there without even damaging the coroplast. So the coroplast will stay intact, and that's pretty great because we want to make sure we keep it just like the factory and that everything remains exactly the same, which it has. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we're going to go down under. Well, we're going to start by, I'll show you what you need to do next, and then we'll be going underneath. Okay, we've got a little bit of the sawdust removed, and you can see this is the floor of a Grand Design, essentially 1 inch of a oriented strand board, heavy duty, with the, when you consider the covering on top of that. We were able to get through without the coroplast. So here's a little trick that I've always liked. So when I'm trying to find where this plate will orient underneath the trailer, what I've done is I just take a zip tie and run it down through my pilot hole, and now that's going to be there, and when I get done I can just pull it through. So here's what we're doing next. We have the D-rings from Grand Design. I had these plates cut. These are galvanized, they will not rust. Grand Design doesn't sell these screws. I think you got to buy about 300 gross of them. So I went one up, and I've got a self-tapping machine T30 Torx bit that essentially does the same thing. It's going to have the same distance. It's going to get in the same length as what we've got right now. This is going to go down here. This will be underneath. And this is what's happening. This is being sandwiched between the two. And so what we're looking at is compression is going to hold it all together. And just for giggles and kicks, let's go ahead and take a peek and see exactly how much of that bolt will end up biting through. And you can see once it's all the way through, we're only going to have a small portion sticking out, which is ideal. I mean, it's essentially, it's exactly what you would want. Not too much hanging out, rust proof, highest grade machine caliber. We should be really good. Now, what I want to show you before we go underneath is when this goes in from the factory, this has a little bit of an insulation on it, probably to prevent condensation. What I do is I really like Armaflex's tape. It's a self-adhesive tape. It's really easy to work with, and although probably kind of hard, you can get it from refrigeration centers. It's not like you find it in every single hardware store. But the nice thing about this stuff is it's so easy to work with, and it will provide that extra bit of insulation that the factory had on it that the factory did not supply with these two D-rings. So, like I said, super easy to work with, fiberglass reinforced, Armaflex from 3M, and we're just going to put a little on there and a little on here. And now, when this drops in, we've got a little bit more of an insulation on that void that has been created. So that's going to work out pretty good for us. Next thing I want to do before I go down underneath is I want to show you something that I think is going to be very helpful. Once we've got this where we want it to be, obviously it's going to fit right in the hole in the only location, because it's a 3-inch hole and a 3-inch plate. So what I'm going to do is, when we've got it centered where we want it to be, so it doesn't drift on us, I'm just going to put a couple of set screws on the outside until we get that center pilot drilled in. And then, since the bolts are going to be coming through here anyway, it's not going to be a problem. We're just really just giving us a little bit of something to set to. There's one. There's two. So this is now going to be held in position when I go and drill my pilot hole for the 7/32 inch T30 bolt. All right, I'm going underneath. So underneath the Grand Design Momentum 351, you can see what I've done is there's my location where my zip tie came through. It's going to sandwich on that frame, part of the frame, and that part of the frame. So I'm going to stop the camera while I position this. Like I said, I can pull that zip tie through right now without any problem whatsoever. I'm going to position my new plate, and then we'll put the screw into it. So here we are. I used a couple of just self-tapping sheet metal screws to hold the plate in position. And as you can see, it's sitting perfectly between the frame joists, being able to sandwich that all the way up. It's going to work great. All right, now let's go back up on top. All right, so we've got our plate down underneath, and really happy how that went in the sense that I'm very comforted to know that that's going to hold that in there. I mean, basically, it'd have to rip the whole floor up. That being said, these bikes with that bolted on, they never moved in 3 years. We're just happy that we're going to get an extra. We can get some walk around room in our rig. 7/32 inch drill. Carolyn will put it down here in the notes. Basically, what we're doing is we're doing the pilot hole for self-tapping machine screws. And I only need to do this one first. It's going to go pretty easy. Rule number 2, always let the tool do the work. And I really do mean that. The DeWalt products that I've really grown accustomed to just work fantastic. So what we're going to do is now we're going to drive the center bolt in. Again, self-tapping, a T30. And that one's set. Now, what I'm going to do is pull the screws out. Whoops, where's my other part? There it is. I'm going to pull them out one at a time because it doesn't make any sense to try and let it shift too much or have too much being put on the one bolt. We come out, we're back to our 7/32 inch drill. No, that's the right one.
Last one.
All right, so I'm gonna clean this up and pop over to the other side. All right, so here's our what it looks like underneath. You can see plenty. The self-tapping screws did a really good job. They came all the way through, and plenty of bite, plenty of security, and plenty of length. And get this all ready because we get ready to roll in a couple days. This really has helped us, and you can see it just came down really good, flush, and it's going to be a really great fit. I'll go check it underneath, but we got some riding to do. We got some riding to do. I got two cameras going. Make it sit contact. You ready?